Hello everyone, welcome to today's lesson with Caleb-Mulonga. Today we're looking at a very interesting topic under pediatrics, which is mostly one of the most common examined questions. So we are specifically looking at the pathophysiology of asphyxia or neonatal asphyxia. So just the pathophysiology itself. So as we know, asphyxia has to do with the breathing of the neonate. Okay, so let's just quickly go into details and look at the pathophysiology. So asphyxia, neonatal asphyxia results from an inadequate intake of oxygen by the baby during the birth process. It can be before, during, or just after birth. As we are saying here, this condition, which is neonatal asphyxia, we understand it's about neonates, so that is 0 to 28 days. So we understand that this is where it comes as a result of inadequate, meaning less or low intake of oxygen by the baby. Okay, and this can be during the birth process, meaning during actual birth. It can be before birth, meaning while the infant or the fetus is still in utero, or it can be after birth, meaning after the neonate has been the fetus in this case has been delivered, of which it becomes a neonate. Okay, so it can occur during, before, or after birth. The decreased oxygen intake leads to increase in carbon dioxide. As we know, the body has a mechanism or finds a balance, and this balance is where there is reduced oxygen, there is reduced carbon dioxide in the body, and there is more oxygen in the body. So how does the body maintain this? It maintains this by breathing in oxygen and breathing out carbon dioxide. So we're saying that in neonatal asphyxia, this is not the case. There will be decreased intake of oxygen. So the baby or the neonate will not be able to breathe in properly. Therefore, there will be less oxygen going into the body, which means that there is more carbon dioxide because it is not going out of the body. The increased carbon dioxide leads to a reduction in the pH of the body, the blood to be specific. So as the carbon dioxide is increasing in the blood pH, which is the potential hydrogen, will become lower or will be reduced. So as we talk about the potential hydrogen, we have to understand that it has about 2 parameters, and the mid part is the neutral. So we understand that from 7.0 coming down, going down up to 1, that is acidity. From 7.3, 7.4 going up to 14, that is alkalinity, meaning it has to do with alkaline. So as carbon dioxide is increasing in the body, the pH will be lower. The potential hydrogen of the blood will be reduced, meaning it will become more acidic. So when the pH of the blood falls, it means that it has become acidic. And once the blood becomes acidic, it will lead to what we call acidosis. So acidosis is basically too much of acid building up in the blood, meaning the blood does not have the normal pH, which is 7.35 to 7.4, because the blood is neutral. So in this case, there will be too much acid buildup, which will result in acidosis. Further reduction of oxygen leads to anaerobic glycolysis. which is basically the breakdown of glucose without the use of oxygen. So as we know, for glucose for energy, let's use this example, for the body to produce energy, glucose has to be broken down in the presence of oxygen. Therefore, there will be energy being produced. But because the body does not have enough oxygen, it will try and compensate, or it will try and use an alternative route. And this is what we're calling an aerobic glycolysis, which is the breakdown of glucose without without oxygen. So this process results in exhaustion of glycogen reserves, leading to metabolic acidosis. So because of the breakdown, the glycolysis, which is anaerobic, because of this breakdown of glucose without oxygen, it will lead into the exhaustion, finishing of glycogen. As we know, glycogen is the stored form of glucose in the body, or we call it the animal starch. So it will be depleted, and this will lead to what we call metabolic acidosis. During this period, we find that there will be metabolic acidosis. And we're saying, where is this metabolic acidosis coming from? It is from the depletion of glycogen. Due to metabolic acidosis, the infant's pH will become more acidic, which is below 7.3, which is just below, meaning it is acidic. But if it's below 7.2, it means it is risky. And if it is now below 6.9, it means that it is fatal, meaning the acidity in the blood has increased and it is very dangerous. The heart and the brain needs good oxygen supply to function well, and that we know. So for the body to function, it needs proper oxygen supply, especially the brain and the heart. Metabolic acidosis leads to the depletion. Metabolic acidosis leads to the depression of cerebral function and even permanent damage to the brain. Okay, so we are simply saying that due to this metabolic acidosis, we understand that there is reduced oxygen supply to the brain and the heart. So because of the metabolic acidosis accompanied by this lack of or low oxygen in the body, it means that the brain is not receiving enough oxygen for it to function. It is not receiving enough glucose for it to function. Therefore, there will be depression of cerebral function, meaning loss of cerebral function. And there can also be permanent damage to the brain. Because if the brain tissue is not receiving enough oxygen, it means that there will be cerebral hypoxia. There will be cerebral ischemia, and this will result to cerebral necrosis. Okay, due to the lack of oxygen supply to the brain, it might result into the death of the brain tissue or cells. We continue. Such infant is cyanized, meaning there is cyanosis that takes place. And in an infant, we call it asphyxia lavida, which is a bluish decolorization of the body. That is cyanosis. But in an infant, we mostly term it or call it asphyxia lavida, the bluish decolorization of the skin. We also have apneic respirations or apnea, which is a temporal cessation of breathing. There will be apnea or apneic respirations, which are basically temporal cessation of breathing or to breathing. So those are the two characteristics that we are going to see first, okay? Plus the loss of the loss or the reduced cerebral function. Increased hypoxia leads to circulatory collapse. Increased hypoxia results to cerebral, in this case, circulatory collapse. So we are saying that because of an increase in hypoxia, it will lead to circulatory collapse. When we say circulatory collapse, we mean the blood that is going through the blood vessels, that is the circulation. So there will be a collapse. It will not be able to function properly. Why? Because there is no much oxygen in the blood. Because there is no oxygen in the blood or the circulatory system as a whole is going to fail. It is going to collapse. And because of this circulatory collapse, the infant will enter into a phase called asphyxia pallida, which is a pale appearance. Asphyxia pallida, which is a pale appearance. There will be a pale, the infant will be pale. Okay. Okay, so there will be a pale skin appearance. That is basically what is going to happen here because of the circulatory collapse, meaning even the blood is not being supplied now to all parts of the body, meaning the body of the infant will be pale. Brain damage begins after 8 minutes of total asphyxia and is maximum after 12 to 13 minutes. So it begins after 8 minutes. So if this infant is not able to breathe properly within 8 minutes, after that 80th minute, you find that brain or cerebral damage will begin to set in. And a maximum of 12 to 13 minutes, that is when there will be maximum effects, meaning the brain by this point can be totally disturbed or destroyed, or rather damaged. Then the last point is that the baby may not die, but will develop a lot of complications or severe complications, as we may put it. We have to understand that this is a very complex condition. Okay, so this is a very simple and quick pathophysiology, a quick explanation of the pathophysiology. If you like this video, you can just click on the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Please make sure that you comment so that we can interact and I can make more videos that you may want to see. Thank you for watching. See you next time. God bless you.